Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Vincentians here at home are being advised not to take anything for granted as the country remains under a tropical storm warning. The advice comes from Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Sams in an address to the nation this afternoon, in which he issued an advisory for the closure of all government offices and non-essential services at 5 p.m. Later this evening and into tomorrow, the country is expected to experience moderate to heavy showers, gusty winds and rough seas due to the passage of Tropical Storm Dawn.
Shelter managers are asked to activate their shelter management teams and have the shelters opened by 6 p.m. to receive persons who need shelter. Of course, we always recommend that the first option is to stay with friends and family. And then if you are unable to make satisfactory arrangements with your friends and family, then you will go to the emergency shelters. Please check to see where your nearest shelter, because one is going to be close to you. They have been published, and in the area it is known where the emergency shelters are in all the areas across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I just want to ask again that the shelter managers, make sure you have the keys. Make sure that there's no slip-up so that you can open the shelters at 6 p.m. today. I want to ask all the shelter teams who are listening to me to make all the arrangements to be there by 6 o'clock.
Though the winds may not be as heavy based on information provided by the meteorological officer, the Prime Minister says persons should prepare for moderate to heavy rainfall.
And we know the damage that rain has done to us recently with the landslides, the rivers overflowing their banks, you know, all of these problems. We know the seriousness of these things. I don't have to lecture you on those things. So just be very careful. Thirdly, the National Operations Center will be activated at 6 p.m. The heads of all the subcommittees are asked to ensure that at least one member of their respective subcommittees, at least one member present at NEMO at all times where the National Emergency Operations Center.
The Prime Minister urged all residents, particularly those in the southern Grenadines, to be extra vigilant.
In the southern Grenadines, it is likely that you would experience storm force and gusty winds. On the mainland, in the northern Grenadines on the mainland, the real problem is going to be the rainfall. In the southern Grenadines, storm force winds, gusty winds, and you're going to have rough seas. So the fishermen and other persons who are using the sea, you have to stay away. You have to make sure that your boats are properly secured. Watch out for the children and don't let them go into the sea. Watch out for the children all over the country and don't have them go into the rivers. You know, please, when the rains start, as is expected later today, into the night, be very careful.
According to the Prime Minister, the SVG Meteorological Services and the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, will continue to monitor the progress of Tropical Storm Dawn and will provide regular updates.
Again, I'm urging you all to take necessary precautions to protect life and property. Do not take Tropical Storm Dawn for granted, as the system in certain parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, gusty and storm force winds and moderate to heavy showers all about. I know some of you are looking around, watching outside while I'm talking and saying, well, look, I haven't seen the rain coming so heavy. You know, believe me, we only can go with the best meteorological advice that we have. And I have to give you a heads up early. It's better to be safe than sorry. You can always say afterwards that the Prime Minister should not have come on and tell us all of this because nothing has happened. Better to be safe than sorry. I can only tell you what is likely to happen based on the current advice from the meteorological services.
And we do apologize for the quality of the sound in those inserts. The Argyle International Airport also shut down its operations around 3 p.m. today as the country braces itself for Tropical Storm Dawn. According to a news release from the AIA, all scheduled flights will be interrupted until further notice is given by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. The AIA says it will issue a further update later this evening as it relates to resuming operations. Meanwhile, advisory number 5 issued by the local Met Services states that at 5 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Dawn was located near 11.7 degrees north or 60 west or about 135 miles to the southeast of St. Vincent. It says Tropical Storm Dawn is moving towards the west at 22 miles per hour or 35 kilometers per hour, and this motion is expected to continue through Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds decrease to 40 miles per hour with higher gusts. Storm-force winds extend outward up to 35 miles from the center. On its present track, the center of Tropical Storm Dawn is expected to pass near the southern Grenadine Islands tonight into early Wednesday. Pockets of moderate to heavy showers, periods of rain and thunderstorms are forecast across St. Vincent and the Grenadines tonight into tomorrow. The Met Services further states that rainfall accumulations of 2 to 3 inches are possible along the path of the system, with higher amounts likely in the Grenadines. In addition, occasional gusty winds to approximately 45 miles per hour are likely to spread across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Several stakeholders from the private and public sectors gathered earlier today at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs conference room to formulate plans to establish a national anti-drug action plan. Noting that the Organization of American States, the OAS, Drug Abuse Control Commission, has been pushing the need for this country to formulate the plan since early 2000, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Cuthbert Knight, said the plan will form part of this country's commitment in the fight against drugs, to which the country is a signatory to the OAS Convention. Knight said that the document would require tremendous research and called on all stakeholders to work along with the Ministry of Health to have the National Anti-Drug Crime Plan functioning.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines obligated itself to fully support this hemispheric obligations to fight illegal drugs and substance abuse. So we have given that commitment that we will follow and honor the hemispheric responsibility to fight illegal drugs and substance abuse. And that commitment requires a tangible demonstration of our will to actually put in place or to develop a national anti-drug plan for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I am very happy to see so many of you here today, and I'm very pleased that this is a step in a positive direction that will allow us to fulfill or to meet this particular obligation. By no stretch of the imagination will it be completed today. So this will have to be a work in progress.
The Health PS further noted that the anti-drug plan will comprise the anti-drug policy as well as relevant legislations.
It will also include the overall effect of which is the undermining of political and economic stability and the increased violence and intimidation as an accepted approach to everyday life. It will also spell out the nature and extent of the drug problem, the domestic legislative framework to combat drug possession and trafficking. It should include also the anti-drug policy, etc.
Also advocating the need to have a united front in the fight against drugs is the drug inspector in the Ministry of Health, Fiona Denny-Pierre. She pointed out that with an integrated approach, St. Vincent and the Grenadines can effectively tackle the drug scourge.
Use is a serious public health problem that affects almost every community and family in some way. Most terrifying is the reality that nothing we're doing today seems to be having the kind of impact we would like on this problem. I believe that this may be due to the fact that our efforts are fragmented and each institution is working hard on its own. But having a cohesive and well-rounded approach can have a significant impact on our drug abuse situation.
Denny-Pierre said that having a drug action plan is a priority for the Ministry of Health, noting that it will also address other issues such as citizen security and corruption.
In the Americas, the world drug problem manifests as an increasingly complex, dynamic, and multi-causal phenomenon that has adverse effects on health, social cohesion, citizen security, the integrity of democratic institutions, development and economic activities in the countries of the region, with political, economic, social, and environmental costs. This requires a comprehensive, balanced, multidisciplinary, and evidence-based approach that takes into account the causes of the problem in full respect of human rights and fundamental freedoms.
The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to implement measures to ensure that it complies with its international obligations in relation to fishing on the high seas. So says Minister of Agriculture Sabota Caesar as he spoke at a briefing with the representatives from the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, as this country seeks to improve its legal framework to tackle illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing. Caesar stated that vessels carrying the SVG flag have been in the spotlight in recent times, adding that the government has been working with local and international stakeholders to tackle the global issue.
Carrying St. Vincent and the Grenadines flags, they have been highlighted, and we are in the process of ensuring that we put the requisite structures in place to ensure that we have compliance with our international obligations. I just want to note for the general public that when we speak about IUU fishing and the recent highlighting of the vessels which are carrying flags from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that this does not touch and concern fishing in our territorial waters or in our EEZ, but this is fishing taking place on the high seas. I am very thankful that the FAO has decided to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines at such a short notice to assist us.
Also speaking at the briefing was Pio Manoa, a legal officer for the FAO, who stated that the organization continues to work around the globe in strengthening fisheries legislation, as well as the capacity of member states to combat illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing.
And the FAO has received a request for assistance from the ministry to assist in addressing the card that has been issued under the EU-IUU regulation. The FAO Legal Office has worked and is working around the world to assist countries not only strengthen their fisheries and aquaculture legislation, but also to address cards issued under the EU-IUU regulation, as well as strengthen laws in countries to combat illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing.
The FAO legal officer highlighted some of the areas of concern their team will be examining while in SVG.
The mission that we are undertaking this week here in country is it a preliminary mission, will assist us in identifying a roadmap or pathway so that we can see the interventions or activities that FAO would need to assist St. Vincent and the Grenadines with to address the card issue in the short term, but also to strengthen the institutional legislative framework into the future.
One must ensure that a critical mass of land is reserved for the use of agriculture production. This appeal comes from Minister of Agriculture, Sabota Caesar, as he discussed with representatives of the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, the issue of setting up a land bank here in SVG. Minister Caesar stated that whilst the government has not implemented zoning as other Caribbean nations have, there are several areas to which careful attention must be paid, along with utilizing science to guide decisions.
So would the usage of the land. However, we have to ensure that a critical mass as it pertains to our land space is used for, continues to be used for productive activities in agriculture. Some islands have already gone into areas of and issues of zoning. We have not gone that way so far. However, we have certain agri-ecological zones in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that we must pay close attention to when we are addressing issues of having a land bank. Because what we don't only want to have is a list of the available lands for purchase or lease available to the general public without having an attachment as to what are the crops which should be grown in these areas. Because if we are to maximize our productivity, we have to get the science right.
The Agriculture Minister further expressed gratitude to the FAO for visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines to conduct what he deemed as a necessary project.
I want to thank the FAO for coming through on its promise, and I expect that over the next few days they will be meeting with several stakeholders in the agriculture sector, and at the end of it a comprehensive report will be made available to the general public. Thank you.
Meanwhile, FAO representative Ariel Bress stated that the FAO is elated to work along with the Ministry of Agriculture here and highlighted some benefits of having a proper managed land bank.
It's been a long discussion with the government, a long process also to finally get this project. And we are very pleased to be here today with the ministry in order to move on its implementation. At this phase, we are going to analyze the particularity of St. Vincent, its relation to land, its relation to production, in order to find its best way to build the land bank. The land bank will be aiming at easing the fact of finding leases, tenants to landowner, and to try to diminish the volume of idle land that have been popping throughout the island.
The Soroptimist organization will continue to be leaders and agents of change here in SVG. That's according to President of Soroptimist International of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Angela Taylor, as she spoke at a ceremony held on Sunday at the Beachcombers Conference Room in commemoration of the organization's 30 years of service under the theme, Step Up, Lead the Way. At the event, several stakeholders received awards for their contributions to the organization, and Taylor took the opportunity to thank these stakeholders for their continued support over the years.
Were initiated. To date, we boast of 33 members, with the Lady Anchovies serving as patron. This year we celebrate under the theme, Step Up, Lead the Way. Your presence here is indeed testimony to your continued support, encouragement and understanding as you join hand with us as we seek the open doors for women and girls. As Soroptimists, we can delay no longer. Together, we will continue to lead and be agents for change. And in so doing, create developmental, sustainable programs in our communities. We praise God for all that is past and trust Him for all that is to come. Welcome, welcome, and enjoy.
Also speaking at the ceremony was Minister of National Mobilization, Frederick Stevenson, who stated that Soroptimist is one of the leading non-governmental organizations in the country, which continues to make their contribution to community development.
I want to compliment and commend the St. Vincent and the Grenadines arm of Soroptimist International for the 30th anniversary of dedicated work here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and as part of one of the leading non-governmental organizations here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I know that they would have done tremendous work in several areas in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to commend the leadership over the many years, over the 30 years, and ask us all to raise our glasses to Soroptimist International, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless this organization. Thank you very much.
Also speaking at this ceremony was past President and Chartered President Anela Thomas, who paid homage to the past leaders of the organization, noting that through their work and guidance, the organization was able to reach this far.
I think recognition of persons who were instrumental in the formation of our organization in St. Vincent is important, since without them, there might never have been a Soroptimist Club in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I also pay homage to the government, private sector, and other community-minded persons and organizations who have assisted us over the years in promoting the work of Soroptimism by representing us by assisting us, in transforming the lives of women and children in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to reply to this toast on behalf of Soroptimist International of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The decomposed body discovered on Sunday, July 9th in the Yambo area has been identified. The deceased man has been identified as 56-year-old Godwin Sam, better known as Black Eye of Sion Hill. According to the police, the cause of death remains unknown. When the body was discovered, the face was decayed beyond recognition. A farmer reportedly discovered the body laid next to a small stream in a wooded area in Yambo. The police are continuing their investigations into Sam's death.